How's it going, everybody? John Cole here again with our podcast, and I'm going to start off by apologizing. It's been so long since we've put another episode out. The reality is, actually, I love doing these. I love listening to podcasts. Actually, I find podcasts very entertaining. They're convenient. You don't. It's a little bit easier than reading sometimes, just because it's like everybody in life gets so busy that it's much easier just to download a podcast and listen to it in the car than to try and read even at nighttime. So, but anyway, we're back, and I'm going to try and be committed again, recommit myself to try and do this once a week. And it's kind of interesting because this actually leads into my next topic. Man, don't worry, sorry about these roads. I'm kind of taking this as I'm driving, and the potholes are crazy. But anyway, this sort of leads into my next topic because as the seasons are changing, I like to talk to the members, and especially members I haven't seen in a while, and I'm kind of asking them, I'm like, okay, where have you been? How come you haven't been training, et cetera, right? So this is where I get a plethora of excuses that, man, I can't even begin to imagine sometimes, because I tend to be the kind of person, if I want to do something, it's almost like come hell or high water, I'm going to go do it. I have people literally that I'll be like, hey, you coming out next week? They're like, oh, I don't know my schedule. I'm like, you don't know your schedule at all next week? They're like, no. I'm like, okay, well, are you coming out tomorrow? Well, it depends. I'm like, on what? Well, I gotta see if I'm working. I said, you don't know if you're working tomorrow? And this is I'm talking to these people, it's 6 o'clock at night, and they don't know if they're working the next day. As I'm sure you can imagine, I'm sitting back thinking, how do you not know if you're working literally the next day? I'm thinking, you either know, or if you don't know, you got way more issues than I can help you with. But if you do know and you're making excuses, that's exactly what we're doing. We're making excuses. And it's getting back to this podcast thing, that's me making excuses. Oh, I'm so busy, got so much going on, et cetera, et cetera. I'm sure that it wouldn't be overly difficult to try and find 20 minutes once a week to put out a podcast, right? So, but getting back to the training, I can understand, because it does require a level of commitment, and I'm going through it right now, to be honest with you, on a personal level, with my own little fitness thing. I had a couple of injuries that were very annoying for a few months, that kind of prohibited me from really training excessively hard. I'm able to train on the mats and roll lightly and stuff like that, but I'm talking about that hard training. And for me, when I'm getting ready to train hard or getting ready for competition, I like to, believe it or not, for all those you may or may not believe me on this, but I actually like to run. Running for me helps with my mental game. It makes me know that I'm in shape to go the distance for a match, et cetera, et cetera. I like to know that I have the cardio in the bank to go. You know what I mean? So I haven't been able to do that for literally, probably 8 or 9 months. So I've just started back up on it, and I don't know why. I don't know if it's because, I gained a little bit of weight. I got a little bit older. I'm not sure what it is. But, I've had, a little bit of layoffs in the past. But I've never had a layoff and come back and feel so shitty like I do this time around with the workouts and the running. It's kind of humbling, actually, to be honest with you. Because, you always sort of hear how, oh, it's hard. And I've heard this lots over the years, how people are like, oh, it's been hard for me to get back into the working out. And I'm like, just do it, man. Come out and do it. But I'm actually experiencing it is hard. It is not fun for me to run right now and feel that pain in my lungs and my legs and my knees. And it's oh my God, how did this happen? When did this happen? So anyway, I'm kind of going through on a personal level with, the fitness portion of it, what, I sometimes hear from students. And, and actually, to be honest with you, and I've said this to a couple of the students have motivated me to work a little harder in my off time away from the club to try and get into a little bit of a better physical state, because I see how hard they're working in the classes. I see, the struggle, and I sit back and I'm like, man, it's not just me, I have that same, let's say, struggle with the run right now, and I see a person who's persevering through those struggles when it comes to, whether it's kicking and Muay Thai, those 50 kicks, or whether it's, the jiu-jitsu techniques, escaping a mount that people may have a difficult time with. Like, I see people every single day persevering in the classes and pushing through their comfort zone, pushing through those barriers, and I'm like, hey, I can do that too. And I am not kidding. Like, you guys motivate me to push through on a personal level. So now, getting back to what I was talking about in the beginning, kind of got sidetracked, sorry. For those of you who know me, you know that's not uncommon. Consistency, like, I ask people about training and, how often they're going to come out. And, consistency can be different for everybody. Like, I tell people, like, even if you're coming once a week, that is being consistent. That is, the cause. That is what we're trying to do to achieve the long-term goal. You know what I mean? So, do not be down on yourself because you're training once a week. Sorry, all these noises on my phone here. I'll refer it back to what I was talking about in my own thing. I already know I do not want to be a long distance runner. I'm not training for a half marathon. I'm definitely not training for marathons. And I'm not training to be a bodybuilder, et cetera, et cetera. So I am not down on myself because I'm not putting in that many hours to achieve those goals, right? So in martial arts, like, if it's something that you're supplementing your regular workouts with, like, you're the type of person that does a little bit of weights, a little bit of yoga, a little bit of martial arts every week, hey, once a week is consistent and you're achieving your goals and you should be proud. If you're a person that's, your goal is to move up in ranks and be able to achieve higher levels within your desired programs, and you're training 2 or 3 times a week, you're achieving your goals. If you want to be a world champion, then you got to train every day. And if you're doing that, you're achieving your goals. You know what I mean? So do not compare yourself to other people. You always hear people talk about in martial arts how the journey is yours, right? So, keep your goals in mind and train and make your training schedule according to your goals. And if you're feeling as though you're plateauing, there could be a couple of different reasons for that. Number one, you may need to train more to get through that little plateau, or we may need to change your goals. Maybe, you started out as someone who just wanted to supplement your workouts. Like I said, you were doing the other programs, you were doing yoga, you're doing weightlifting, you're doing all kinds of things, and you're doing the martial arts, and you first started out and you were happy with that, and all of a sudden now you're like, man, I got new guys coming in, I've been here longer, and I got new people coming in and they're passing my guard. Well, guess what? We may need to kind of tweak your goals a little bit if that's something that you're experiencing, and we might need to say, okay, well, maybe you need to train a little bit more often in order to kind of like help with that bell curve of learning, right? So, that's something that you got to kind of reassess. Like, and you'll hear people talk about this all the time, and I tell, when anyone I talk to about it, I'll be like, you constantly need to reassess your short-term goals and your long-term goals. And this is why we do that. By constantly assessing these short-term and long-term goals, we're able to constantly assess how we need to achieve those goals and, take the appropriate action. I think that you see, graphic examples of this happen all the time within the club. I see it happen all the time. So, like, for example, whenever there's competition events, okay, there's a tournament coming up, or there's a fight night coming up, you see people training hard all the time. Like, people are basically working towards that goal. There's a concrete objective, and, people feel good in their training because they've laid out the groundwork in order to how to achieve that concrete objective. It's very tangible, right? So, you can see it, you can feel it. It becomes a very easy thing to relate to. You can, like I said, it's tangible, you can see it. I think the problem is when you don't know what your goals are. You don't have that tournament that you're training for, or you don't, not saying that it has to be a tournament that you're training for, but, you don't have that goal, that specific goal. So I guess what I'm trying to say is, like, number one, I'd like to see everybody be consistent in training. If you're not consistent, let's talk about how we can help you become consistent. You know what I mean? But number two, I'd like for everybody to, have goals on what they're training for. And I've said this before, and I put it back out there to people again. Like, if anybody would like to chat with me about it, man, anytime at all. Like I said, I'm pretty much an open book on my own training goals. I could tell you exactly what I'm trying to work on in each of the programs that I participate in. Like, my jiu-jitsu, I'm definitely 100% working on the leg lock game right now. Okay. Muay Thai, I am definitely trying to improve my kicking ability and my mobility in kicks. Karate, I'm trying to become more fluid in the kata. You know what I mean? So I know what my goals are, and I know the steps I need to take to do them or to achieve those goals. What are your goals? Guys, reach out to me. You can PM me, see me at the club. Let's talk about them, and then let's reassess, how do we help you achieve those goals? We have a team that I can guarantee you there's a lot of people at the club that are more than willing to help you achieve your goals. Some people love nothing more than to help other people achieve their goals. That's their goal. Their goal is to help others. So, talk to us. I'm imploring you. Let me know. Send me a PM. See me at the club, and we will make time to discuss your goals and how we can help you achieve them. And by identifying our goals and setting an action plan on how to achieve our goals, I can almost guarantee that all of us will become more consistent in our training. So that's it for today, guys. I thank you for downloading and listening. For those of you who are listening to this before the Easter weekend or maybe during the Easter weekend, just a quick reminder that we are closed on Easter Monday and Easter Sunday. There's no formal classes. Friday night, there's kind of an open mat at 8 p.m. until probably about 9:30. Saturday, all classes are on at both locations as per normal schedule. Sunday, we are closed completely. Monday, there are no formal classes at either location. There will be an open mat on Monday from 6 p.m. till 8 p.m. So guys, if you're interested, after you have all your beautiful family dinners, come on out and spend some time on the mats with your extended family at Sudbury MMA. Anyway, guys, have a great weekend, and make sure to think about those goals and connect with me next week. Ciao.